Gather round, Guardians of the Weird. We're back again, and this is I think our first part two is with the story time thing. Like I think this is the first time we're hitting like a
No, no, because I mean it's spook tales.
woo.
We gotta we gotta work on yours. You sound like a wounded moose.
But yeah, so we're back with some more story time.
Yeah, this is episode 3.
You're right. This is episode 3. Last time we got kind of the first half of Shmoke's childhood, his upbringing, his what turned him into this beast you see before you, and I mean that in a derogatory way.
Naturally, and I appreciate it.
So now we're gonna get back into like tell me like it sounded like there was a lot more.
So not really a lot more because we're starting to enter. Obviously, if I remember correctly, my last story was middle school.
Yeah, the thing starting to open your attic.
Yes. Okay. So actually, we didn't have a whole lot of Hollywood material after that,
Right.
but we did have it. Is crescendoed the right word?
Yeah, crested. It fucking
And climaxed.
oh.
Yeah.
Safely, I hope.
Always use protection.
That was
Trojan man. Oh man, did that date me? Do they still do that?
no, I
He's
don't
not
think
still
they
around.
do.
Is he? All right. On the next TRL. So fast forward. It is. I believe this would be about my freshman sophomore year of high school. And internet's starting to get big.
Okay.
You can dial up, and we have AOL.
Oh boy.
Right, and it is
AIM instant messaging. Oh yeah.
all that shit, right? Full disclosure, right? Fucking loved AIM chats.
Oh
right?
hell yeah.
13-year-old me was a fucking lesbian in all the chats.
All right.
Catfishing before it was cool.
As he said in the last episode, guys, you can grow. Okay.
I just wanted nudes. I wasn't smart enough to just. Actually, I thought my parents would figure out if I search things.
Right.
There's no like incognito back on fucking Windows fucking 98. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Fucking. So
Fucking
anyway,
Netscape.
yeah, it's the summer of fucking internet, and I'm up late playing Neopets and fucking talking to fucking lesbians on the internet, right?
Now Neopets, that dated you. Oh shit.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm in the very back room, which is actually an addition to the house, so it's not originally part of the house, which also just a fun background of the house. According to stories, I haven't actually checked the property records or anything like that, but back during slavery times, well, actually, I have had a friend that's been inside the house that's in question
Okay.
and can confirm and validate that there are at least some weird historical properties to this house. So I don't know if you've ever noticed out back of my parents' house, there's an old house that sits up on the hill. And it'll take you probably like the life of you to figure out what fucking road even leads to this place. It's not part of the townhouses that are up there. It's not part of our community. It's not part of the street right down the fucking street. Right? Okay. I don't think I ever fucking figured it out. I mean, I could walk to it through my backyard and through the woods and stuff like that, but this house on the hill is just disconnected, and it was apparently the plantation, like fucking owner house back during slavery times.
Oh shit, okay.
In a very divided Maryland, and the valley, so to speak, that all this community was built on would have been where all the slave houses would have been.
Gotcha. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't gone back and checked historical records. I know our house was not newly built, but like newly built. My parents were the second owners of that house. So there was and they were a young couple. Nobody died in the house. So I know that from, pressing my parents.
Right.
So, but just a little kind of fun historical thing. And like I said, a close friend of mine had been in the basement of that. They used to smoke meat all the time, and it attracted him. And there are like shackles and shit in the basement.
Oh, no shit.
So
Does somebody live in that house currently?
I don't know currently, because it used to be like when I visit, like you could always see the smokers out there, but I don't see the smokers out there anymore. I mean, it's like a big balcony, and they would always be smoking meats and shit like that. Just, I don't know if they fucking killed a pig a day or some shit, but I don't see that smoke or anybody smoking, so I don't know if they changed hands or what. I obviously don't live there anymore.
I don't know. Might be worth kind of taking a look at, seeing if.
See if we can poke in around there. Yeah. Yeah, PG County's full of fascinating shit.
Yeah, Goat Man.
Goat Man.
From our first run here on this show.
Crybaby Bridge.
Yeah. Well, there's like a million Crybaby Bridges.
That's fair. I guess chucking your baby over a fucking bridge was pretty popular back in the day. Anyway, I'm downstairs, got my Neopets, you know what I'm saying? Got my TV show. I think this is before Adult Swim was even a fucking thing.
Back then I think it was like Toonami.
No,
or was this before Toonami too?
I think this was before Toonami too, because I don't watch anime, and so I wouldn't have watched any of that stuff.
Gotcha. So we're talking straight Cartoon Network, like
yeah,
Freakazoid, Pinky and the Brain era. Like
I don't know. I feel like they had an After Dark program, but I don't remember what it was. So anyway, that's not relevant.
Irrelevant.
I got some good shit on the TV. I didn't smoke or do drugs then, so you know the only high I could get was a bowl of ice cream, and I had hooked that shit up. I remember it fondly. Vanilla ice cream, Hershey's chocolate, because I had to wash that bowl after this fucking encounter. Anyway, I'm getting up. I go out to the kitchen to rinse my ice cream bowl out, and there in the kitchen is the exact same lady in blue that I had seen in the mirror
when you were 5,
15 years, 10 years ago.
Jeez, like the same dress and everything?
Same dress and everything, recognizable, fucking, and just like that, fucking blink, gone. Which, you know, obviously looking back at it with my adult brain, like a recurring, when it's just like...
Like a delusion?
No, like...
hallucination?
No, stop, I'll get you there.
You'll get you there. I'm trying to help you get there.
I'm gonna help you help get me there. So, when the energy, like an activity just done over and over again.
Residual.
There you go, a residual on. See, I told you I could help you help me. That made it, to me, out of the realm of possibilities that this was anything residual, because she never stayed a day with us. She never even lived in that house.
Gotcha.
Hospiced at her place up until, you know, from what I understand, she passed away. So there's no reason for her to be there, and there's no reason for her to have routines, and there's no reason for her to have two separate fucking routines and two separate... Like, I understand how she could be attached to
that wardrobe.
The wardrobe, but I don't think it was something where it's just, you know, on loop.
Right.
And that was the last time I ever saw her. Now, I never felt fearful when I saw her.
Right. I was actually going to ask if do you remember if it was the same kind of emotion from when you were 5, or is that like too?
That's the thing. There wasn't. I mean, as far as I remember it, there wasn't really a whole lot of emotion. Just not fear as well, if that makes sense, because it happened so quickly. And the younger one, I mean, that was like having to get downstairs and put 2 and 2 together, like, you know what I'm saying, and kind of think about what the fuck, like rewind essentially, you know, TiVo this shit. But both events happened so quickly that I don't really have any feelings associated to them, but I remember also it wasn't like a frightening encounter. Like, I didn't walk in the kitchen and like drop my bowl of ice cream, you know what I'm saying? Now, was I a little bit looking over the back of my shoulder as I was washing that bowl out? Absolutely, right? I mean, 2 doors have fucking exploded in that fucking kitchen. Like, now I'm seeing a fucking apparition. Fun little side note, behind the dining room, there's a corner. There's corners in houses, guys, but there's a corner of the house. And story has it that my sister would always just stare at that when she was a kid before I was born. We got a 5-year age difference. And when she was young in that house, she would just stare at that corner religiously. And yeah. So I never saw the lady in blue again. However, maybe it's what I like to tell myself, or maybe it is what I think it is, but it wouldn't be the last time I felt her presence.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
There's a story that goes with that. And this is probably the full climax, and this is why in the last episode I said I think there was multiple things there. I think some of them were malicious, and I think some of them were not.
Right.
That being said, this is probably one of the most horrifying things that has ever happened to me, like real time. So when I slept by myself, I like to bundle in, like cocoon, there you go.
Okay.
I'd like to cocoon my blankets and shit like that, right? So I'd always tuck in, I tuck my motherfucking self in.
Right.
I always had the blankets over my head like a hoodie, just enough to like fucking leave, like fucking like, enough carryover to where I can just breathe through my nose and mouth, fucking, and I am, covered head to toe. And a lot of that, honestly, was childhood fucking belief that, like, I gotta hide from these motherfuckers.
Right, monsters can't get me.
Not even that, but I mean, some crazy shit. So, just another little side story as it comes back to me, too. Again, no big Hollywood stuff, but I used to sleep as a kid with my door wide open and my bed right against that wall that's shared with my sisters, and the door is like adjacent to, like, you open the door and that's the fucking wall you're walking in on.
Okay.
And every night I would hear, after my father came up, because I was really good at listening for my dad, because I was up, playing video games and shit when I shouldn't be, so, quickly turn off the Game Boy, fucking put it under your pillow so there's no fucking light,
right,
and all that good shit. Take the headphones off, whatever you're fucking doing. You listen for those creaky stairs, you know what I'm saying? I know about what time Dad comes to bed. Bada bing, bada boom. Well, Dad came to bed every night. And every night after he came to bed, a second set of steps would come up those stairs.
Okay.
And I would just lay there, petrified. And some nights, they would walk in my room.
Oh.
And I never had the courage to look.
Now you're sure it wasn't like your mom checking on you, like...
100%.
Okay.
Now, granted, my mom always got up early. She was in bed at like fucking 7 o'clock. Like, that bitch was out. Like, she was gone, like, and nonetheless, she wouldn't be coming from downstairs. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Fucking, and this was a very consistent pattern. There was no mistaking it. It was coming up the fucking steps and coming down that little hallway, and you know what I'm saying? And sometimes it would sit on the end of my bed, and I could feel the end of the bed. And, excuse me. Sometimes it would touch my leg. And it was, again, petrified by the experience, never felt harmful.
Right.
But it felt like very, like you said, almost like a checking in kind of thing, except there was nobody there to be checking in.
Right.
So that, that encouraged the behavior of me then switching my entire bedroom, like I moved my bed to the complete other side, outside wall, and from that day forward, I always slept with my bedroom door completely shut and locked. And I never had another instance with that, which leads me to what the story was that I was originally going to get to, which was waking up in the middle of the night. Now keep in mind, again, just to go back to it, I cocoon myself.
Right.
Right? So, I mean, I'm tucking fucking feet in, you know what I'm saying? I'm fucking full shoulders underneath the blankets and shit. Like, they ain't coming out.
Right.
And I don't toss and turn. I'm basically a fucking, you know, I power down.
Right.
I shut down, you know, I sleep. That's it. Unless I wake up in the middle of the night and like change position, that's where you're going to find me. Right? So I don't stir. I don't do any of that shit. I woke up to this very weird noise. Best I could describe. No, I guess my blanket is floating over top of me, just completely levitating, so to speak.
Now, is it your entire blanket? Like the
Yes.
whole blanket?
Yes.
Like it's not like it's draped over and like the whole blanket is up.
Yeah, I mean from what I remember, like I said, like all these things happen in such a flat can of like petrification that, you know, you're not taking in fucking every small fucking detail of like, oh, is there a corner hanging over back here? But like, well, the sheet was all the way off of me and flat, and what my mind related to was the sound of open hands smacking the blanket.
Jesus Christ.
And they smacked, and then the blanket just fell down, and that was it. No grand, like, fucking, you know, explanation or apparition that appears and gives me a fucking high five or anything.
Hey sis, we're gonna be switching bedrooms.
But I always felt that it was the woman in blue that was actually helping in that instance by holding the blanket up so that whatever was trying to fucking attack. That's just the instinct that I got.
Right.
And you know, there's nothing to back that up. There's no, you know, that's just the feeling that I had. And that was the last real big occurrence that happened in that house. You know, oh no, I lied to you. I'm sorry.
Filthy liar.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Your pants are on fire.
I'm sorry. Bonus content. So, peep this story. This one always gives me fucking goosebumps. This is, and then of course, you know, we always have stories of our own adventures together, but this is the last story, unless I think of more, that happened in this story. So, enter post Marine Corps, came back, got a job, became a bit of a whore.
Okay. As one does.
Yeah, you know.
I mean, that's what Marines do, right? They eat crayons and they sleep around.
Yeah. We just say fuck, but anyway, so I'm working, sleeping around, and I'm notorious for bringing, you know, my parents, God bless them, aren't like super strict, you know, at this point in my life, right? I mean, good God, right? I'm a man. Like, I can make my own decisions. Just be respectful, right? You know what I'm saying? I wasn't fucking, you know, waking them up with lines of coke at fucking 2 o'clock in the morning. But, you know, your boy liked to, you know, your boy liked women.
Fair enough.
And so I would bring women in, but I would never hide it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I would expect, you know, I never wanted the girl to feel embarrassed or, you know, my parents to feel like, you know, I was doing something worse than what I actually fucking was. Like, no, it's just, you know, just a booty call. Like, you know, it's not a block of heroin or any shit like that I'm, you know.
No 8 balls in here, guys.
Yeah, because like I said, it was a tough childhood growing up, and God only knows what my parents think, you know, were going to happen. But I'll never forget. I came downstairs one morning, and my mother asked me where the girl is. And I laughed because I thought she was just making fun of the frequency of my fuckery. And I don't, there's nobody up there, nice try. She was like, no, you definitely came home with somebody last night. And I was like, no, I think I would know if I got, if I had a girl upstairs. She's like, you don't have to hide her. Like, what, is she ugly? Like, I'm like, dude, no, like, I promise. Like,
Mama Savage.
Mama Savage. Hashtag Mama Savage. But she insisted. And the creepier part of it was the way she described it. So, as I said in my last video, but if, you watch these out of order, my bedroom is straight across from my parents' bedroom.
Right.
So, they have a direct line of sight into that hallway, so to speak, that connects both rooms. She told me she saw me with a girl sneaking in, and that I thought I was slick because I had her like fucking get really, really, really close to me so that we only tried to look like one person.
Okay.
And of all the things that happened in that house, that one fucked me up the most. I'm surprised I forgot it, because it's one thing when, like, I had no paranormal activity happen that night. Nothing happened. There was nothing fell over. I didn't feel anything. Nothing. And the possibility that that entity was still there and I just didn't fucking see it was uber, and still to this day is uber disturbing to me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because she was insistent that I was just hiding a girl, or some girl was fucking climbing down a goddamn blanket fucking ladder in my fucking window or some shit, But there was no girl, and she was adamant that I had snuck this girl in, and like I said,
she was right on top.
The manner of which I had snuck her in was like freaky. So, yeah.
Yeah,
And again, nobody died in this house. Second owners, nothing crazy ever fucking happened, except for the land possibly.
Right. Now you said second owner. How old is the house? Like, is it super old? Like, did the first owners live their entire lives out in the house? Or?
No, it was a young couple. Young African American couple. My parents will always tell me, because they've got to be diverse.
Right.
We were buying. No, it was relatively new. I'd say within the first 10 years of 15 years of its life.
Okay. So
when they bought it,
right
now.
Yeah. So what? The house is maybe 80, 90 years old, max.
Now?
Yeah. Right, because you had told me before. You said your pops just recently turned 70, right? Or
he just turned 72.
Oh, 72.
Yeah.
Okay, so they bought it within. I don't know why I'm looking at the house and your parents on the same timeline.
It's probably improbable all over again.
Okay, so never mind. That's irrelevant.
If I had to guess, I would say the house was probably built in the 60s or 70s, if that helps you timeline it out.
Okay, yeah.
So about 70 years old. I can probably Zillow it for you. We can Zillow it in post-production. We'll give you the exact date that house was built.
The address and everything. Y'all can stop by.
Yes, they love money. Send money. But yeah, that was
that would freak the shit right out of me.
It did.
Oh yeah, came in with a bitch on your back. Wait a minute, what?
Yeah. Because again, all the stuff that I'd seen in that house, but it's the ones that you don't see. That
yes.
Somebody's telling you is happening, and you're just an unaware fucking piece of this.
Yeah.
It freaked me out.
An unaware bystander, you're not even a part of it at that point.
Right, or not even aware that it's happening. No signs, no.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's really a difference of all right, this is happening around me versus this is happening to me. Right?
That's true.
It's one thing if something happens with you there, but when it happens to you.
Also, fun fact, at that point, I had also, just, full cards on the table. I had been to Glendale, as I said, as I got older, I started to lean into my paranormal hunting, and I had been to Glendale Hospital, which was a old insane asylum / tuberculosis ward. Porky pigging it up in this video, and I might have brought something home with me, not ghost-wise, but probably ghost-wise. But there was one of the restraint chairs.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I might have cut myself off a buckle as a keepsake.
Yep, that could do it. Now, when you say you was it that night? Like,
no.
Okay.
No. I'm just saying that this is
right.
This is part of the collection. That's here.
Yeah.
It's in this building now, so whatever's there is still potentially here, and we definitely get our share of craziness around here. Yeah. But nothing that ever ramped up to those sort of climactic levels, and I'm aware. Again, you watch a Hollywood movie, you would think somebody needs to, throw a rock bottom to the devil or something for it to be a good story. But I mean, this was like psychological warfare. Growing up.
So yeah, when there's that, like you put it, which I think is pretty apt, that Hollywood ending to it. Like, yeah, sure, it's in your face scary, but sometimes the stuff that has no like clear conclusion, like sometimes that stuff can be a lot more psychologically scary than an in-your-face like jump scare, right? Like, it's the difference between a jump scare and a slow burn. Like,
well, that's why I know this is unpopular opinion, but I always thought that Paranormal Activity, phenomenal fucking movie.
Oh yeah.
The amount of like mind fuck that like exists in that
100%.
It captured it perfectly. And sure, it's not exciting. There's no chainsaw fucking killer running around in like that angle. And every movie has flaws, and obviously found footage isn't for everybody, and blah blah blah. But in terms of like every movie that I've ever seen, in terms of what it feels like, that movie did the best job of getting like almost like the Full Metal Jacket of boot camp for the paranormal, because that's what it feels like. You feel like you're crazy. You feel like you're losing your mind. You feel like certain people don't fucking believe you. Like it turns households apart.
And then you start to not believe yourself. Like, you start to like second guess your own eyes. Like, shit, maybe I am going fucking crazy right now. Like,
yeah, I mean it's a turbulent time growing up, and then going through puberty and stuff like that on top of that, with obviously high school bullshit going on, and it was trenches, man.
I can imagine. I mean, I don't know, that woman on your back, that was an interesting little tidbit there.
Yeah.
Enough to make me think about it. Like, I'm playing it out in my head, and never even, shit, you were in high school, I was fucking
barely after high school.
Oh yeah, that's right, after.
That was post-Marine Corps.
So I was probably just getting into high school, you old ass. We're really only like 5 years apart.
But yeah, so that's the dramatic, exciting conclusion to the home files for me. Fucking, hopefully we get to reopen it here soon and go back, do an investigation, see what we can turn up.
Yeah, I'd
pop into that attic. Pop into my old room. Yeah. Pop into the kitchen. We just pop in all the rooms.
Yeah, I actually think it would be pretty cool if we did some. Go to both of our haunted childhood homes. Fucking, make it almost like a mini series in and of itself, like the creation of Sip and Shmoke, right?
My haunted beginnings.
Yeah.
There you go. Eat your heart out, TLC. Or whoever. That's who does that in My Haunting Show, right?
It was either TLC or AMC. No. It was Discovery.
It was probably on TLC before Discovery then.
TLC, AMC, Discovery, they're all owned by the same people, let's be real. Every single channel is owned by like 3 people.
No.
But yeah. That was some good spook tale woo woo.
Spook tales woo woo. What's better?
Thank you. I can take constructive criticism, all right? But all right, do you guys have any creepy stories? Anybody else out there have some nice haunted beginnings you'd like to share with the world? If you do, we'd love to hear them. You know, shoot us, leave them in the comments. Shoot us some direct messages. Yeah, we'll read it and we'll answer. You never know, you might hear it on one of our episodes. Till then,
Peace.
smash that like button. Give the subscribe button a little reach around. You know you want to.
Peace.
We love you guys. Stay safe.